All right, so real quick, because you've been on what, is it like a 9-day spree of actual like a normal sleeping schedule?
Oh yeah, nine days. Yeah.
What made you actually go for this? Because you're a gamer, man. People don't do
Honestly,
that.
honestly, I was just like, basically, I was watching Killa, and I was like, I cannot become this. So honestly, all thanks to Killa, he turned my life around. So far, been on a 9-day schedule. I've drank only water for like the past 23 days. I'm doing really well.
Healthy gamers are cool.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's what I'm going for here.
I'm proud of you, buddy.
That and I was so tired of Krim talking about being tanner than me. So I mean, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it like full out. I'm not going to let anyone beat me. So
No, I get it, dude. I
Yeah.
understand. You have to compete at every single thing. I'm with it. So,
Oh, yeah.
yesterday, for those of you at home, in case you did not know, it was yesterday. The Season 3 draft went live. And it actually went a lot better this time through than the first time, where you guys drafted like Big Timer and Boss Nasty. This time it seemed like they held more importance for the season, just because of all the traveling and you need like good subs. So, tell me who you drafted, buddy.
All right, so just to add to what you said, yeah, because they put in the 3,000 minimum point rule for to be eligible for the draft. I think that's what enforced the more seriousness because there was only like good players in the pool,
Yeah.
and you kind of had to want to get the best. But so round one we had the 12th pick, and I was really surprised who we got. I thought he was going to be drafted earlier, but I ended up getting with Fears, who I've teamed with multiple times in the past, and
Have
he's
you
a really
really?
good player. Yeah, a lot in 2011.
What was that?
Very,
Black Ops 1?
in the Black Ops 1, I
Okay.
teamed with him in Modern Warfare 2, which is 2010. And I also teamed with him in the late 2012, early 2013. The original complexity was me, Krim, Teep, and Fears.
Okay.
And
I
then
thought you had too quick, though.
no, all right, so we got first in the Frag Cup, the first tournament on Black Ops 2, that we have like the reputation for winning the first tournaments. It was me, Fears, Krim, and Teep. And then we went into UMG Niagara, where we played Optic in the finals and somehow won the map count but lost the tournament. Anyway, we eventually dropped Fears, and then we picked up Too Quick, worst roster decision of all time. Moving forward, picked up Clay, and that's where that started. But yeah, we
Gotcha.
team with Fears a lot, and ideal with Fears is he's basically going to be the guy to fill in for Karma. They're literally identical roles, really. So when Damon can't play, we grab Fears.
Well, that's good. Do you personally think that Fears can play at the same level as Damon? Obviously not exactly fill out his shoes, but I mean, like, do you think he's of that high caliber? Because no one really talks about Fears at all, and I think he's a monster. I think him on Rise was a very, very good fit. When they dropped him for Sane, I was like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, Fears is that guy who, like, individually has all that talent, and I think maybe individually he's not up to caliber with Damon, but, like, put with like, me and Krim and Teep, like, I think he'll be able to perform really well.
All right, so who is the second round? Because the first round, as you guys know, we had there was basically continuation picks because Blevdog needed an extra player as well as Rise. So they both got 2 picks in the first round, and they ended up getting another one in the second round. So there was a lot of good players already snagged up. So who did you end up grabbing in second?
Second, we went for Facento.
Who
He's
the
on.
hell is Facento?
He's on Excellent Gaming now. He was on Stunner. I think they got like 6th or 7th in the open bracket. But I played against him a lot in wagers, and like I mean, I know he's kind of that player that can do it all and plays for the team win. Is basically what I judged from him. But overall, I mean, it was round 2, and like my original round 2 had got drafted. Facento was going to be my round 3, so I grabbed Facento. Basically, I mean, he's going to be a guy that I know will be on. He's reliable, and he's just an overall good player that I thought would be perfect for like any kind of if we needed a sub anytime, like he would be there.
Oh, well, that's always a plus. You always want that guy. Now then, you got a young talent guy. You got a little 15-year-old on you.
Yeah. So well, he was he was my round 3.
Yeah.
His name he goes by Temp.
Temp.
Temp. Temp.
Oh, temp, like temperature.
Yeah, so
Gotcha.
he's 15.
Witty.
He's one of Zuma's friends, like a longtime friend, I guess. He was drafted by Erupt /Denial in season 2, and I remember him filling in for them versus us, and he did really well. I mean, I think he's one of those guys who's extremely good online, which is, it's season 3. It's an online it's a league, so I mean, there's no like bad part about being good online. So of course we drafted him. Basically, I just had past experience of him shitting on us in season 2. He's one of those players that I guess would fill in for Krim if needed, like just a guy who can be like, yo, go kill stuff, go warrior people, whatever.
Yeah.
He'd be able to do that.
Huh. Now, was your 4th one in a fill-in for Teep?
My 4th round draft was absolutely awesome. So I wasn't paying attention because I had the very last draft in round 4. So Commissioner John Nelson was like, "Oh, EG out of time. EG drafts phase." I'm like, "John, I know you did not just draft for me." And so apparently we got a guy who had already opted out, but because the rule said we would draft. The way the draft works is if we missed a draft in round 4, it would go to the highest point player. But apparently he had opted out, and we got him anyway. So he was FaZe, who was previously on Fuse.
Okay.
But I contacted him, and he said he'd play. So works out, I guess.
Well, that's cool.
So yeah, so we got some decent subs.
What did you think? Just to completely cut you off, because that's what I do here. This is my show. I'm
that's
just kidding.
Fine. I
love you like a sister.
It's
moving
literally
forward.
The best thing ever.
What did you think about how everyone else drafted? Did you think like Radius Gaming, which I'm still like indecisive on how I feel about the team name. I was 100% sure they were going to bring back like a team like Triggers Down or like Classic, right? Because they bought that spot. I was almost 100% positive they were. And because Halo's like, got a lot of hype going into it. It made sense to me, but do you think like Radius Gaming's going to do anything?
Well, with who they drafted a pretty good team.
Yeah, they have a very deep team.
Yeah, they drafted the Young Gun squad. That's not so much Young Guns anymore, but always was the Young Gun squad of Spacely, Slacked, Huddle. Those guys were on Unite with Clay back in the day and always stuck together and have teamed a lot. Now on top of that, they have their 2 starters, Saint and Classic, who, I mean, that if you look at that team, especially online, like that's a sick squad. But I think Blev Dog's idea with going with Radius was. I think he got tired of like running something else, running something that wasn't necessarily completely his. So he wanted to start something. I mean, the team name's the team name, it's whatever. But I mean, I think he has pretty high goals for that organization and that team moving forward. But I think they probably got the best picks with their drafts, which obviously they should have because they didn't have a full squad.
Yeah, I think that worked out. I think personally, if I was MLJ, I would have been like, hey, just go ahead and pick any player so we can just do 4 rounds as it's supposed to be.
That's what
I think that's how it should have been, but
MLG never does anything right. So of course it was done differently, but I mean it worked out in the end. Scott, you cut me off, I cut you off. We have this back and forth.
No, I love it. I love it. So, Rise, why was Attach such a hot free agent? Because for me, I think like Attach had one good event for my personal viewing experience being in Call of Duty, which has been basically a year and a half now. Attach has had one good event, and that was X Games. That was it. Like, he made FaZe Red his bitch, granted, but like he wasn't like the end-all be-all. Like, I wouldn't have taken him over Methods.
Right. So let's look at something. Let's take LAN completely out of the picture, okay? Let's look at straight online performance. Attach is literally the pistola of COD online.
Oh, he's that good.
Online, he's unkillable. Like if you look at his stats, he's always had the highest KDs and the highest kills per respawn in the online league. But I agree with you, his LAN performance has always been subpar, average, okay. But him online is a completely different player. Don't know why that is. I mean, he's young, could be the comfortability. I don't know. But Attach is really good online, so that's why he was going to go hot for the round or the season 3 draft.
It's so weird seeing people actually draft players because of online play. Like
it's so
never been done like this.
The weirdest thing is that online is so different from LAN. Like, if you compare the players who's good where, like, it's literally 2 different games. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, isn't JCap have like isn't he like notorious as like the biggest warrior, like the conversion rate?
Well, there's like, all right, so there's like warriors that are better online than they are on LAN, and then there's Warriors that are only good online. I think JCap just falls in that category of where he has really good internet, so he pulls shit off online that's like, wow, but he still performs on LAN when he needed to. I mean, he's a veteran player. He's just one of those guys who's Upper East Coast with super internet.
Gotcha. I didn't know he was Upper East. Oh, yeah, he's Philly. He's Philly bound. Yeah, that's good.
There's a lot of players that are at Philly.
I actually think your brothers in blue actually have a pretty solid squad on their hands. I think
they do.
I think Cap going back to Envy was a smart decision. Obviously, he FaZe Red disbanded, and he didn't want to end up on Radius Gaming. But I think Formal, Nameless, Merc, and Cap are going to actually work out pretty well. What do you think about your brothers in blue?
So, I mean, now that Formal's in the Envy house, he's not on the West Coast, you know.
Oh, yeah, he loses his God. God effect.
Well, he loses the West Coast God effect, but he gains the Envy internet. So, I mean, him and Nameless on dual host being I would say they're power players for that team. It's going to be pretty hard to compete with. But even on LAN, though, they have a 6 squad. I think they really need to build their chemistry and kind of come up with not so much working together, but like playing as a team. Because, I mean, obviously they're Slayer heavy right now, but they really need to develop that more team-focused aspect to compete with, like, I mean, I would say us and Optic, but I mean, they have obviously on paper a solid squad.
I think looking at it, I'm saying JCap has to be the one who picks up the AR role. He has to.
Yeah, he will. I think he will.
And he hasn't done it in so long, though.
If not him, it'll be Nameless, but I definitely agree with you. I think it should be JCap. And I think Formal needs to go back to that old, when he was originally on TK, when we went to the UGC pre-land back before Champs, go back to that role where he's like, all right, I'm running a MTAR or Vector with Marathon lightweight, steady aim, greedy, you know, you guys get on flags, let me kill. He needs to play that kind of role. That's the only way I see that team really benefiting with Formal on the squad, because lately he's been trying to be the I can do it all, I'll fill in wherever kind of role. But on that team, I really think he needs to go back to the just Slayer-focused mindset.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hop to a quick commercial break. When we come back, more.
I'm still going to be in bed, but more coming. Are we back?
Yeah. Bring it in, Eggs.
Ladies and gentlemen, the king has decided to come home. We got Aches back here on MLG TV/UGC. I've come home. You know, UGC is a place where you're not given anything, you have to work for it, and I'm back.
I love you, dude. All right, so
what's up?
This is the big talking point, and there's no way of avoiding it to where it's not controversial at all. Like, we just have to talk about it, okay? Yeah. And it's the two perfect people to do this. And I'm going to probably play a little bit of a devil's advocate because it's just how it is.
Stop playing the devil's advocate role. This is new.
I know, right? I'm used to being the devil. But you're a bigger devil than me. So I give it to you.
Okay.
Right or wrong? Would you agree or disagree?
Yeah, you're like the horns and the tail, and I'm just like the body. I'm the torso, the legs, the head.
You're the jackedness.
Yeah.
All right, so as everyone knows, yesterday MLG released basically the Season 3 information. It detailed that there was $50,000 in the prize pool. Now, everyone kind of like jumped the gun a little bit, myself included, and I was like, oh, God, they lowered the prize money for everything. Like, everything is just $50,000, went from $70,000 to $50,000, but apparently it's $50,000 for how you place in the Season 3 online, and then another additional LAN event, which has been undisclosed yet. So, I guess, Aches, what are your first kind of responses here?
My initial reaction/opinion was, all right, so MLG was thinking, all right, how do we find a way to stop EG from winning all the prize money? So basically they said, okay, let's put the LAN event at half the prize, and let's put the online segment at the other half.
Is that what they're doing, is 50 and 50?
That's what I'm assuming right now, which has kind of been the rumor going, but okay. I'm going to assume that's how it is right now. So originally that was me like, okay, so they're tired of us making all the prize money, filling out the checks to us only kind of deal. So they cut it half and half. I think it's really. I think
that's the ego, bud.
I think it's really stupid. Regardless, making anything with all the problems that everyone's having with online Call of Duty, the fact that online is now, you know, the same basically as LAN, assuming they're both 50-50. It's one of the stupidest things I've ever seen. I think it's worse than cutting the prize pool. It's just giving money to people who don't deserve it. On top of that, like you're doing an online prize pool, and then you have subs in the league. So like you're like basically influencing not to use your full team by allowing substitutes regardless. And now not only that, there's $50,000 on the line for placements in the league. Like, okay, that's just stupid. It's gonna be an internet battle. And luckily, I mean, in season 2, we did finish #1 spot. But honestly, that was because we had a hot streak for about 2-3 weeks where we literally couldn't be beaten, and we went on a 15-0 run, which put us in the place that we were. Because after that, I mean, it got really close down to the wire. But regardless, I just think it's really stupid that you're giving money based on online performance, especially in this Call of Duty more than any other. But I mean, regardless, I think that you're going to see a different winner in both, just because of how teams played out. I mean, Denial has a sick online team.
Yeah,
Radius
they really do.
has a sick online team. Envious with the team house. Optic with the team house. There's just so many. Curse is. Oh, I didn't even think about Curse. There's just so many. There's so many advantages that some people have online that others don't. Which putting prize money for is just absolutely retarded. When you could throw the full
I'd
prize
say yes
pool
and no.
to a huge LAN event. Okay, if you were
I think the scale of it shouldn't be. I don't think it should be an even split if it is 50-50. I'll put it that way.
Okay. On top of the even split, I think that if you wanted to do that, you should do half the league online, then what we talked about before, where you fly the teams out to a studio, you do the other half on LAN. You got to create a balance. The fact that online is going to be, like, if you're online dominant, you can place well. Like that's just silly to me, honestly. And I think MLG is making a huge mistake, regardless of the split, 50-50, 25-75. It doesn't matter. I just think that's really silly. I think they're trying to make the league more serious, but at the same time, it's like it's an online league. It's automatically not serious for most of these pro teams. But, I mean, it is what it is. It's a content thing for MLG TV, so they want to do that. But regardless, I think it's really silly that money is being put out for online gaming.
I think you're 100. I think now more than ever, our idea is 100% correct. Where the final 11, maybe even the final 2 series should be played out at online or on LAN at the studio. I think the final 11 games, because if you look at the final 11 final 11 series, they call it games, but it's a series. If you look at the final 11 series and where everyone was at last season, SB was still in contention. The bottom 5-6 teams were still in contention. You guys were the only team at that point or you guys and Optic were the only 2 teams at that point to secure a place actually in Anaheim.
Yeah,
so you have 11 more series to play out. I think that content would almost be better too, because then it gives you that like LCS feel.
That would drive like the actual mindset of, okay, that is the regular season. It's being played on LAN, but it's still regular season, and it's creating a fair atmosphere where real prize money should be given out there. The fact that it's given out online, like, I mean, okay, I'm just going to be biased right here. We're the best team in the game, right? Online, we're split 2 West Coast, 2 East Coast. That kills us. We benefited in Season 2 just because we were so much better than everyone at that time.
Yeah.
But regardless, like, the game, see now, the game is, mid-July. Like, it's getting to the point where it's hard to be consistently better than everybody because it's getting so late in the game. And the fact that online is so important as it is, just, it hurts the teams that benefit in the fair atmosphere and then get destroyed in the online one.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think anything where online is basically revolving around and there's no dedicated servers is a disservice to everything. I don't think it's not fair, and it just doesn't work out that way, because you're going to look at it in 2 ways, right? People are going to be like, oh, team houses are an advantage, but then should people be penalized for the fact that they're in a team house and they have that gig? No, they shouldn't.
Yeah, they shouldn't.
They should not be penalized for that.
There should just be no prize money on the line. There should be no,
There should be something on the line, though, with online. There really should be. It shouldn't just be a spot into the league. I think there should probably be something like, maybe like play for stipends, right? Like and then kind of take away from the orgs a little bit. But like, if you finish in the top 4, each player gets like a $400, $600 stipend.
What if you played for salary?
What do you mean for this? Oh, the entire time? Obviously, salary is ideal. Then you don't have to worry about prize money ever.
No, I'm saying no. Like let's drop it down. Like not even like let's say mediocre salary. Let's say if you have a top four spot in the thing, you're gonna have a salary throughout the season. Because I mean it's 3 months, right? It's July, August, September, and possibly October. It's 44 matches playing 2 a night. So I mean it's gonna be extended really long. Like what if you you have the top 4 spot, you have a salary throughout the season.
The only thing that gets scary with that
paying weekly. So it would be every week whoever's got the spot got paid.
The only thing that it would probably be bi-weekly if anything. No one pays every week.
Yeah. I was just giving it.
Yeah, no, I understand. But the only problem that gets scary with that is then for the players, because with the salary then comes a contract, and most players aren't going to look at this contract. Right? Because if you're getting salaried, I'll tell you right now, your ass will be on streaming on MLG.TV.
Let's not say salary. Let's say incentive, like an incentive bonus. Like, hey, you got the top 4 spot. We're gonna pay you, I don't know, $300 each every 2 weeks, or $500 each every 2 weeks because you're maintaining that spot. Not, hey, we're gonna run a season of 44 games and we're gonna pay out $20,000 if whoever's at the end of the tournament is in first place when it's online Call of Duty.
Well, do you then think?
I mean, if they're throwing,
they couldn't do that going into this, because then they would have to be taking the top 4 from the previous season and salarying you guys throughout this.
No. It would be like this. So season 3 starts fresh. Let's say at the end of let's say it starts the 14th, right? So let's say on the 28th, you take whoever's in top 4. Every player gets $500.
Okay.
On
so you're saying every 2 weeks, whoever's in the top 4, they get the money.
And you could even run a show and like talk about it. Like every 2 weeks, there's a date. It's set. Every 2 weeks, there's a date set to.
That makes sense.
In the top 4, every player got a certain amount of money for maintaining that spot. That's the incentive for playing well, but not hey. You are doing so much better than you, but you are so much worse than them on LAN that hey, take the money in the end of the season, because that's just so stupid. I can't believe MLG even came up with that idea. It literally blows my mind.
I'll tell you this, that'll make the ESR actually worth watching.
Thank you. And on top of that, like it's like hey, every 2 weeks, like crunch time, you guys got to clutch up. We're in 5th spot.
Right?
We want to get that 4th spot. Don't drop a map. We got to get out. We want this money. Let's say it literally would be perfect. $500. If they're throwing $50,000 to the online component, you could pay. Let's see what would that be?
Well, so there's 16 people times 500. Where's my calculator?
It might have to be 300 or 400, but I mean, eventually it would tally up. Let's say there's 8 weeks. Okay.
16 times 300 times 8 weeks is what you're saying?
Well, no.
That's 38 grand. At $300.
So yeah. Okay. So what's 500? It would be close to 50. It'd probably be like 58 to 60.
8. That's 64.
Okay,
so it'd probably be like 300, 350, 300.
You could do 400. You could do 400.
I mean, even still, $300 is still easy money to be throwing into the pot. Not easy money, but it's still like the incentive is there, especially for like a team like Denial who's not going to get shit on stream revenue yet.
And you wouldn't be paying the same people. The spots would flop. Like no one's gonna. I mean, outside of maybe us and Optic, no one's gonna keep a top 4 spot. I feel like let's say us and Optic. Let's put us on a pedestal. We're top 2 always. The 3rd, 4th are gonna constantly flip, in my opinion. Like the 3 through 8 has always been a toss-up in this game in general.
That's true.
Especially in the last league, like it would be a complete toss-up of who is in that spot, and I think it would go back and forth. So not everyone's gonna get paid consistently, but at least it's like, hey, you maintain a top 4 spot, which is the best, whatever, then hey, you should be salaried for it. I mean, that would get rid of the $50K at the end of the season, and it would say, hey, we pay out throughout. So it's like you're not paying for something, or you're not playing for something that you're going to be benefited for 3 months down the line. You have to consistently play well and play up to par the entire time.
And that would add $11,000 into the prize pot, which would then put it at $61,000, assuming it's a 50-50 split going into LAN.
No, that would be at $500. We could even put it to $400, and it would be even.
Wait, what?
If you did do the math for 400.
Well, no, 300 was 38,000.
Right, and we want to get to 50,000 to make it even, which would be about 400 if you said that would be 52,000.
You know what, man? You're lucky I'm flexible. That's all I'm saying right now.
It would be 52,000, and that's still maintaining the end prize pool. And
yeah, it's 51,000. So it's like 375.
I'm a math genius.
Shut up.
No, we could do 51,000. How? How MLG throw the extra $1,000? Are they really that piss poor? I mean, if they wanted to do something serious and not, hey, let's take an online prize pool and just give it to the best online teams, or we can say, hey, whoever consistently plays the well throughout the, I don't know, what would it be, 12 weeks of the tournament, you get paid for consistently proving that you're a top 4 team. Not, hey, you're really better than them online, you should get paid at the end of the season $20,000. Like, that's just silly. But, you know, I mean, it is MLG. They don't take advice from anyone but MLG, so they don't have great ideas like the one I just proposed.
You're the worst.
It happens.
It
happens.
You're the absolute worst. We're going to do a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're talking tournament format. Stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the COD piece. Gandhi joined by the one and only Patrick Price.
LeBron James.
Your comparison was so funny when you were like, yeah, it's almost as big as Scump going back to Optic.
That was a good tweet. That was a really good
tweet, man. It was funny.
Yeah.
It was really funny.
I've had a few in my day.
You've had a you're kind of like a wit master.
I'm all right.
You're mildly wit filled. So, Ix, first thing here, the rules. It's only taken you what, 7, 8 months to get everything you wanted banned?
Oh, and it's still not all gone. I mean, in reality, in like the ideal perfect world, you don't want to have to ban anything, right?
That's you want it out of the box as much as humanly possible.
I agree with that as much as the next guy, but in games like Call of Duty, especially this one, like things just have to go to make it competitive. It can't the BS can't be put in and considered competitive. So with the new rules, LMGs got banned. Basically only overpowered shotgun got banned.
Yeah.
Double nades got banned. Double tacticals got banned. The skinny extinction characters that were used online a lot were really annoying got banned. And so far, that's it.
What is that going to do to the gameplay that we're watching? Some people are arguing that it's going to go slow. I say they're dumb.
So it's basically going to... Imagine you're videotaping, right?
Mm-hmm.
You videotape something for one day, right? You go home, you're editing it, you put it in 2x mode. That is what we're going to be seeing. Like, the game is literally going to speed up to the point where you have to play for map positioning. You can't rely on clutch BS nades anymore.
Hold on 1 second. Eat shit, everyone who told me otherwise. Go ahead.
Oh, literally, take your poop out of your butt, put it in your mouth, because you're wrong. Anyway, so now, on top of no, like, BS clutch double nades and Dom, you're not going to have the double trophies, so you can't just luckily put 2 trophies on a flag, kill all their nades, and smoke and get on it. Like, now you actually have to have map control. You have to push out their side to be able to get the flag. You're going to see people have to work together more, and you're going to have to see the game speed up to the point where you can't just hide in a corner and wait for something to happen. On top of that, in Search, you're not going to see the BS rushes on Sovereign with the shotgun, the Bulldog getting these stupid kills that it shouldn't be allowed to get. Other than that, no more LMG. So now
Thank God.
No more LMG overkill in Search and just LMG camping and thermal LMGs and throwing double smokes to look through. None of that stupid crap. It's all gone.
Thank God, man.
The game is more competitive. You have to play with your team. Even Killa, who was against the rules the most when it was first released.
Well, that's because that was like keeping Killa into the game with the thermal LMG.
But now Adam tells me every day how much better the game is and how people are just so against change that they don't understand how good it could be. And I think
Obama.
With the rules finally being put in officially, like people are realizing like, hey, this is actually more fun to play. The game is better. The BS flukiness is out now. And on top of that, like the only other change that you could honestly say is the vector get tuned down a little bit. I mean, it got buffed quite a bit. In fairness, it should have been buffed. It shouldn't have been buffed as much as it did. But
didn't they hit it with a nerf though?
No, they hit it with the. They didn't hit it with a nerf. They hit all guns with a headshot multiplier nerf. Being point that the Vector was currently the only submachine gun that had the multiplier because they had nerfed all the others and it was the only one left. So they nerfed that. So that took away just the bullcrap like 2-bullet kill. But I mean, it added a little bit better, but it still has too much range. Regardless, that's probably not going to change the rest of the game. However,
what was that? Do you have a strobe light in your room?
Oh, my TV.
Oh.
What, it like flashed?
Yeah, it's like okay, Aches is at
I
a
wish
disco.
I had a strobe light. That would be
Dude,
awesome.
that's
I'm gonna
about as
invest.
retro as it gets, man.
I had a disco ball in 2011, and I would always have it on when I streamed.
Oh my god.
2011, I streamed with a webcam every time I streamed, but I had my disco ball on in the background at all times, and it was just.
I'm just thinking about all the things I could do with a disco light.
Think about it. You just put it in like the top corner of your room, let it spin. Lights. It's a fucking party while you play Call of Duty. I mean, what else could you ask for?
Oh my god.
Yeah. So
that's almost orgasmic.
back to the rules. So I think now the everything's going to be a lot better, less fluky, more fun to play for everybody. Which is what I was always going for.
Do you guys have to switch up your play style that much, or no?
Oh, not at all. We get that. In all honesty, we get to go back to how we wanted to play. I think. See, before, like, let's say Champs era, even though that stuff was allowed, it wasn't being used.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now it kind of got to the point where it was being overused. Everyone was using it. Changed the game negatively, and now it's back to where it's fun to play. You can actually sprint. You ain't got to worry about getting picked off by LMGs or being bombarded by nades or double smokes, double stun. Regardless, the game is better, and I'm pretty happy about that.
All right, now this is me and you time here, buddy.
Oh God, I've waited my life for this.
It's me and you time. First things first. Do you agree with the way Anaheim was done with the tournament format?
Absolutely not.
Okay, I'm in the same boat as you. Now, we both kind of have, you have like a crazy, like, mystical idea that I think is brilliant that I'm going to let you explain, but I'm going to go ahead and hit mine, and then you, with the pool play.
Is this what we talked about the other day?
Yeah, this is exactly what we're talking about. I'm getting it on video.
Because I literally, like, when I put thoughts in my brain, they just stay there for them to be on leash. So right now, it's like a caged lion just being just set back by the barbed wired walls, and I'm just going to rip them off and let them out.
Rip it off, bro. You go first.
Oh, I'm going first?
You're going first. After that, I mean, I can't follow that shit up. I was just going to talk.
That's
you're
fine.
you're releasing a lion from barbed wire.
I'll do it. So there should never be a segmented group of pro players are here, AM players.
I'll drink to that.
There should always be a chance for AM players to come out, even if they put in the bottom tier, the pro section. There has to be a chance for them to come out. Which, if we're looking back at the only year MLG did things right, 2011 and before, it was ran by, there was 12 pro teams seeded in from prior events or the online qualifier for the first event, 12 pro teams, and then there was 4 spots available in 4 pools. So each, so there's 4 pools, there's 3 pro teams in each pool, and there's 1 spot for, the AM teams in each pool. The AM bracket would play out in the winner side of it. The 4 teams that are left would be thrown into pool play. Then there would be 4 pools with.
Does the highest seed go into pool A and then the lowest one go into pool D, or how does that work?
So, if you come out, so we would play the 4th team, so the 4th seed. Assuming we're number 1 seed in pool A, we would play the number 4 seed coming out of open.
Okay, all right. I was confused as I didn't know if like the number 1 would then go into D because it was like the hardest one,
Right, they would.
Okay, so gotcha.
Okay, and then you would have the AM teams would have something to play for. Obviously, they would be put into the pro bracket. After pool play, 2 teams of each pool would come out. So you would then throw 8 teams from pool play into the winner bracket. And you have an 8-team winner bracket. Or a 16-team winner bracket, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. No. You would have an 8-team winner bracket and then an 8-team losers bracket. 2 would come
out of each pool, so you have 8-team in winners and then 8-team in losers. And that wouldn't be just the bracket. So you would throw the 8 teams in losers, basically put them in spots in the loser bracket, while you wait for the open losers to get to that point to where they meet their opponents who've fallen out of pool play.
Mm-hmm.
So then that would be the double elimination would continue, and then you would all be playing for the same prize pool at the end of the tournament, obviously. Then the pro teams would have more matches to play. You would play more teams. The amateur teams would have something to play for, not BS prize pools in an open bracket on a different console, whatever.
Yeah.
But all in all, and then the points, so let's say we place first, Optic plays second at that event. Next event, the pools would be seeded by the placings of the teams of the prior event. So points would only be based on the actual tournament. There would be no online pro point BS, except for open bracket, but they would still use the tournament points that you got at the event.
So it'd be tournament points plus pro points.
Right. That way, you can still make team changes, and team changes would actually affect your seed going into the next event. So let's say Optic got second, right? They wanted to make a change. They dropped Nate Shot and Scump, okay? And then Optic picked up Envy, who got third. Or let's say they picked up
There'd be a cold day in hell before.
Okay, one player in Envy, one player on FaZe, who got like fifth or seventh.
Okay.
Therefore, Optic would lose their second seed, fall down, and then the third place team would push up, assuming they didn't make a change.
Gotcha.
So the points would be based off event only.
Yeah,
and
that's how old school Halo was done too.
Right. So that's how it should be. The BS of pro teams are here, AM teams are here is just stupid because it's not so much putting like a segment on it. It's like, I mean, I get what they're trying to do. Their business model is push pro teams to MLG TV only, the teams that drive viewership, blah blah blah. But that's nor here nor there.
I mean, to be honest though, you're getting like the big thing, like looking at Anaheim, and you know Kyle, my producer here, also worked the B stream as well. Like, no one really gives a flying shit about open bracket teams. Like eSports isn't at that. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick at all, but I'm saying viewership wise, you know. Those players, like the casters, in order for the game to be good, at least for like myself and Maven to cast, and even Revan, to be honest, we got to know stuff about the teams.
Right. No matter who you're a fan of, you're always going to want to watch the best of the best, which is in the pro.
So you can have pools A, B, C, and D going on 2 different streams, getting a crap ton of viewers.
While you're fighting their open bracket teams who aren't on stream are fighting for the chance to be on stream. And the best of the best will come out of that, and they would play best of 5s, not best of 3s.
Yeah, so instead of having one stream with, like, let's call it...
Let's think about it.
Let's just call it 500,000 viewers, and then 1,000 viewers, you then have 500,000, and then, like, 200,000.
Right.
Because it's 2 evenly matched teams.
And think there's even people who would watch both. But at the same time, it's like... You would put it to the point where the open bracket, since it's always been time sensitive, blah, 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 you could run the open bracket and it wouldn't matter when it finished because you're going to have to play, there's 12 teams that would have to play each other before the open bracket teams even got a chance.
Yeah.
So that match would go on Friday, half of Saturday, into Saturday night, and then the open bracket, the winners of the open bracket at least, would finish late Saturday night, mid-Saturday. Then it's only 4 teams playing those matches. They could knock that out in that night, and then you would even play like I think what they did back in the day is you would play one round in that 8-team winner. I think the big thing
you would basically have to have 4 stations, at least.
No, you
wouldn't be able to get everything on stream. You would have to just if you rapid fired it in the pool play, you'd be set.
You have
that
main
that open bracket team has 4 matches they have to play though.
Right. Yeah.
That's
what happened in 2011 and it worked fine.
Hour and a half.
Open bracket 2011 we had 120.
It's like 6 hours of gaming though, for those series.
Yeah, but that's one team.
Yeah, one team.
Okay, so it would be 4 pools.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying.
It worked in 2011. In 2011, so the open bracket, it was 128 teams back then, I think was like what we got in Anaheim in 2011. It finished Saturday, mid-Saturday, okay? Mm-hmm. And then the open bracket teams came into pool play. They knocked those matches out, one by one. In every pool it happened. And then, no, I think you're right. I think that's what happened. Matches weren't played on stream.
Not all of them could be played on stream. There's no way.
No, you wouldn't need them to because at all times a match would be on stream. You wouldn't need.
Well, yeah, no. You would have 2 good matches on A and B stream at all times.
At all times, and then at the same time, matches would be getting knocked out off stream and continuing the bracket or continuing the pool play.
All right, you good, buddy?
I'm good.
You have shout outs? You got shout outs?
I am good. I think MLG is not good. Monopoly League gaming is in a point where they're too focused on other things and not focused on the competition, and I think that needs to be altered a little bit. In hindsight, I mean, I just think they need to hire consultants that obviously they hired all of Optic Gaming, but outside of that, they need to hire people that are really focused on making the game and tournament style competitive as possible and set as fair as possible, and get away from running, because that's a big problem that I've discussed with you before. The platform host should not be able to run the structure for the league and the tournament itself. Overall, that just creates problems in general. But I think that clears up my point. I think that there does need to be changes put in effect to get back to things being as fair as possible and be in a situation to where everyone is benefiting. But I really appreciate you having me on, Gandhi. It was a blast. As always, the king is home. I will be here for any shows moving forward. But yeah, it was fun.
We love you, but we don't love you. Take it easy.